Well, hello everyone and good evening or good afternoon. This is Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring come to you live here on TikTok as we go through different parts of math, mostly Algebra 1 and Geometry, to kind of help you build up that confidence, take that stride. And I know some people are probably using this to kind of help them with their GEDs, their Accuplacer, the ASVAB, and maybe even a current Algebra 1 class that they're currently taking. So what we are doing this evening, we are working on parallel lines cut with a transversal. So it kind of brought over to what we were talking about yesterday. So yesterday we were kind of looking at different types of angles, the vertical angles, and mixing in some algebra with the geometry. And there was some terminology that looked like a couple people weren't too sure what it is. So I'm going to kind of address some of the terminology to kind of help us through, because sometimes those assessments will take a situation like this to add it on. So this is actually going to be sponsored, I want to say, by Audrey's Notes. So if you guys know that all my notes that I actually do here on TikTok, I actually created a notebook for. So if you notice that some of these notes have a QR code with it. So if you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to the notes that is supporting the verbiage. So this is Audrey's Notes. We have books 1 through 3. If you want to download it, you can download it on my website. If you just type by my name, you can click on the website and it'll take you right through Audrey's Notes. All right. So when we look at parallel lines are basically two lines that do not intersect. Another thing that we know about parallel lines, they have the same slope. So right here we have line L at the top one and line M at the bottom one. And this line T, that's called my transversal. So what a transversal does, it cuts and creates angles off of your two parallel lines. So the lines or the angles that they're creating are supplementary. Remember, supplementary means 180 degrees. And they're also creating what's called vertical angles which gives us our V. All right. So when we do this, we're going to have angles that are in between the two parallel lines, which is called the interior. And then you're also going to have angles outside the parallel lines, which is called your exterior. So now how the angles are formed, some of them are going to be congruent and some of them are going to be supplementary. So let's get to it. So if we take a look, and I tried to kind of do a little impression. So if I take a look at, say, angle 1, and if I copy angle 1, and when I look at angle 1 and I slide it down my transversal, I can stop right over top of angle 5. Okay, because angle 5 and angle 1, they're congruent. Okay, when I go from one angle and I'm able to slide down the transversal to get its match, those are what's called corresponding angles. So if I may, let me see if I can copy angle 3. So if I look at angle 3 and I slide down my transversal, it's not going to lay over top of angle 6. But if I slide down a little further, it matches exactly with this angle 7. So angle 3 and angle 7, they're going to be congruent. Okay? Angle 1 and angle 5, they're going to be congruent. So that means if I do angle 4 let me just kind of trace it up here. If I look at angle 4 and I slide down the transversal, angle 4 matches up with angle 8. All right, so we're looking for something that's going to give me the slide. So here they are. This is the corresponding angle. So corresponding, they basically slide. And they are congruent. Okay, that's the symbol of congruent. All right. So the reason why I know that this is going to, if I wanted to trace this angle right here, I know if I slid down, it will match up with this angle right here. Okay, so that's your corresponding. Now, there's another set of angles. Yep, tonight I'm going to have a very interesting looking finger because I'm using my finger as my eraser. All right, so if I look, and we talked about this angle last night. So if I look at angle 2, but I know for angle 2, it doesn't match angle 1. And then angle 2 doesn't match angle 3. But if I take angle 2 and I flip it, I notice that angle 2 and angle 4 are going to match up. Same as angle 4 will match with angle 8. And since angle 4 matches with angle 2, that means if I flip from angle 8, angle 2 also matches with angle 6. But what I'm trying to get at with angle 2 and angle 4, those are vertical angles. Okay? I got a V shape here. If I flip it, I get a V shape here. Okay, so vertical angles, they are congruent. So that's the same as what's happening down here. So these are, well, let me change the colors. Make it a little more attractive, right? Okay, so vertical angles. So they're like opposite V's. Okay, so opposite V's is what I like to say, and they are congruent. Okay, same thing is happening with these. So if I copy this angle, if I flip it, it will match this bottom angle. Okay. All right. So now we're actually going to do a little bit of change-ups. So when we got into looking at some other types, when I look at these, what's happening to these two angles? Okay, what's happening in these two angles? Okay, what's going on with these two? Okay. They're not quite vertical because they're not directly across from each other. Okay. Complementary. Okay, what grade is this for? This is like geometry. This especially is for those that are taking the TEAS test. If you're trying to get into nursing, they always have a couple of these parallel lines cut with a transversal problems. They all have like one or two. Okay, well, the lines are going to be parallel, but it's not so much. So we got alternate and exterior. Thank you, Pog. Because look at these two angles. These two angles are outside the parallel lines. I kind of like to think the parallel lines as like pieces of bread. What goes on in between is inside. So like the meat, the cheese, all the seasoning, everything is inside or in between the two pieces of bread. That's the interior. Okay, what's outside, if you're like basically old fashioned and you like to have the olive, with a some kind of like pick through it and just decorative at the outside. These are the outside angles. So one, if I may say, let's use angle 2 again. So we got angle 2. And we're comparing it to the alternate. The reason why I'm saying alternate is because on the transversal, it's on the opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the right and one's on the left. So we already know that if I did corresponding, if I slid down my transversal, oops, kind of got stuck here. I know angle 2 will also measure angle 6. But then if I talk about vertical angles, I know that this angle 2 is going to match up with angle 8. So if we put it all together, we're saying that angle 2 and angle 8 are basically the same measure. Okay, so angle 2, it matches up with 6. But then 6, we got a vertical angle with 8. And we can see it's basically the same measure. So we can say alternate exterior angles okay, so alternate exterior angles, they're also congruent. Okay, so those alternate exterior angles, they're also going to be congruent. So we don't know what the measurement is. They're not giving me that little box, so I can't say they're complementary. Because only for them to be complementary, the sum of those two angles have to equal 90 degrees. They're not giving me that indication. Okay. Hello, Robert. I've been doing, darling. I've been doing. Good. You know what? I'm still alive. Life's good. I shouldn't have any complaints. All right. So far we've been finding our angles to be congruent. Okay. Right now we saw the corresponding angles, they're congruent. Vertical angles, they're congruent. Alternate exterior angles, they're congruent. So now let's take a look at this one. So they're basically in between the two pieces of bread that we got, right? The two parallel lines. So that means they're in the interior. But what are their locations? Hey, Fast Horse, how are you? Okay. All right. Hello, Daily Doses of Tech. So yes, they're same side angles. They're same side interior angles. All right. And for some reason, there's two names with this. Okay. So we can either call them same side interior or some people like to call it consecutive interior angles. Okay, so some books will say same side and some tests will say consecutive. So consecutive, one after the other. Okay, they're on the same side. So if I may, I know if I copy this angle and I tried to slide it down the transversal, they don't match up. But these two angles are forming a straight line. There you go, Sid. They are supplementary. They're gonna be supplementary because these two angles are forming a straight line. So anything that forms and creates a straight line is going to be supplementary, which is also known as 180 degrees. Okay? So since they're consecutive, they're going to be supplementary. And they're on the same side, so they're supplementary, which means 180 degrees. So whatever the measure of this angle is, if I add it to the measure of this angle, it will equal 180. Okay. So the next one, what's happening here? So I know today is just like a lot of terminology, but we are going to do a little bit of naked math. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be naked. That means that we're just going to do some math, not so much word problems just yet. Okay? Just want to clarify that. All of a sudden everybody's like sharing the live. Oh my God! Or just going to break the internet. Okay? Hey, Danny. All right. So opposite interior, good, but there's another word that we can use instead of opposite. You're correct. Okay. TT, okay, thank you for your honesty. Okay. So since they're in between the two parallel lines, that's the interior. Okay. Yes, Michael. Yes. Okay, so since they're the interior, but one's on one side of the transversal and one's on the other side. So when one's on one side, one's on the other side, instead of saying opposite, we say alternate. So this is the alternate interior angle. And just like Michael mentioned, if we trace this angle up here, if I tried to slide in the transversal, it's not going to be exactly the same. Even if I flip it to the other side, it's not going to be exactly the same that way. But if I flip and then I flip again, they're going to match. Okay? So if I want to, I can have it this way. If I want to slide down, I can match up with this angle, but then we got vertical angles right here. Remember that? So if I flip that, it matches up. Okay? So alternate interior angles, they're also congruent. Okay. Okay. What was your question, TT? Sorry, I didn't see it. Because sometimes it skips. Did you ask a question, TT? And thank you, Spencer, for my little slide tool. I know. Remember the, what they call the transparency sheets from way back in the day? The clear sheets? I found a whole bunch of them downstairs in my whole little thing. All right. Hey, A. We are working on the different angles of parallel lines when cut with a transversal. So a little bit of geometry. Honesty, you was hoping you've answered my question. What was your question, TT? Because I don't see a question on my end. I just see a question mark. Because I'm sitting here scrolling through and I don't see you asking a question. Unless it was way early. Hey, Janice. I'm sorry I didn't say hello. I know I was like all into it. Hello, Roxy. How are you? Okay. All right. So far, it looks like the only thing that's supplementary is same side or consecutive interior angles. So when I look at same side exterior, okay, that's what's happening here. What's happening with same side exterior? Actually, that's just same side exterior. It's not consecutive. Consecutive means one after the other. Okay. Can't see. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Hello, God is good. How are you? It's okay. I'm doing okay. Is that SOS? You need help, eh? I appreciate you. Okay. All right. So what do you think about same side exterior angles? Okay, these aren't going to be consecutive because I don't have one after the other. So Pog, you're thinking they're supplementary also because of corresponding angles? Okay. All right, so if I sketch this angle and I slide down, okay, right now it's not going to match up with this angle, so they're not going to be congruent, but because this angle will be congruent with this angle, which is also congruent with this angle. So that means right here we have what's called a linear pair. Okay, when you have an angle adjacent and sharing a side with another angle. And linear pairs are supplementary. And supplementary means 180 degrees. So that means same side exterior is going to be, whoops, wrong color. Got a little crazy. They're also going to be supplementary. So what we can conclude okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So we got that supplementary. All right. So it looks like anything that's going to be same side, be it interior or exterior, it's going to give me supplementary angles. All right. Anything that's corresponding alternate exterior, alternate interior, or vertical angles, they're going to be congruent. All right. So if we can keep in mind same side supplementary, SSS, triple S, okay? Same sign supplementary, okay? SSS. So that might actually kind of help you out. So if you remember what supplementary means, remember with the S, and then you have to draw a line connecting the two ends, it creates an 8. So that means we got 180 degrees. All right. Okay, so keeping this in mind, okay, we are going to take it a step further. And you're probably like, oh dear God. It's okay. All right, so this is basically the terminology. I'm going to see if I can peel back. If you want to take a quick screenshot, go ahead and take a quick screenshot. If you want to have it with your notes. All right, and if you also want to purchase your Audrey's notes later on, you can. It's perfectly fine because that's basically what we're doing. And I have 3 books. Some deals with probability, some deals with factoring, some of it has a shading of inequality, Pythagorean's theorem. So like all the gist and everything. Some probability is also in here and precision. All right. So now let's see if you can connect it with the measures of the angles. All right. So let's see if we can do that. So I have a lot of stuff set up this time. So if you want to tap for just a moment, let's see if we can tap. We're at 7. That's pretty good. For like Monday night, that's actually pretty good. All right. So we are going to zoom, or I'm going to zoom in as best I can. And we're just basically wanting to ask ourselves the type of angle it is, okay? Okay, and what is our unknown? So that's all I'm basically asking. What type of angle it is and what is our unknown? So taking a look. Okay, what type of angles do we have? Hello, Andrea. What type of angles do we have? And what is X? Okay, thank you for the follow, guys, and the love. I appreciate it. Okay. So Pog is saying corresponding and X equals 68. Too easy, way too easy. Okay. So what's my answer? You know? So the reason why I go through these things, because this is going to be on the TEAS test. So if you're thinking about doing some nursing, and a lot of people haven't seen algebra since they were a fetus. So we're going to go through some of these concepts, okay? So C4 is saying corresponding slide. Okay, a whole lot of Blake. There we go. The other X is 142 because alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we're saying they're congruent. Users agreeing with me or laughing at me. 68 degrees equals X. Lovely C4. I love that since they were a fetus. I know, it's been a moment. I can even go further than that when they're a zygote. Ooh, who paid attention in sex ed? Right here. Okay, alternate exterior angles. All right, so now they're not going to be alternate because they're both on the same side. But if I take my 68, I almost lost my paper here. If I take my 68 and I trace that angle and I slide down, it's going to match up with X. So the one that slides is my corresponding angles. So I'm going to write core. So we got our corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent. So that means X is going to be 68 degrees. Okay, alternate exterior angles. Exterior means that we're outside the parallel lines. Okay, the outside of the parallel line. One is outside, but that 68 is inside. So when you see an inside-outside combo like this, and they're on the same side of that transversal, that means they're corresponding angles. That means you can slide and they are congruent. All right. Talking about the other ones. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I figured that. How do I know that the lines are parallel? Because parallel lines do not intersect. Okay. So take a look at these. All right. My two parallel lines that are not intersecting is this line and this line. So what kind of angles do we have? Are they congruent or are they supplementary? And then what's the value of X? Oh, that's a good one, Roxy. Think of parallel lines like train tracks. Up. Not where it crosses, where it's going to turn from one track to another, but long range. Okay. Parallel. Okay. Use arrows showing that they're parallel. How do you think they're going to intersect? Very interesting. Something, something congruent. All right. So if we take a look, these are your two parallel lines. So they're not inside, so they're not interior. They are going to be exterior. 142 is on one side of the transversal. The unknown angle is on the other side of the transversal. So that means that we have alternate exterior angles. So I'm just going to write here real quick. Alt exterior. All right. And then alternate exterior angles. Are they congruent or not? Okay. So they are congruent. Lines are parallel. Okay. All right. So since we're talking about alternate exterior angles, okay, the only ones that will be supplementary is when they're same side. So remember, the key thing when they say alt, it's going to be congruent. And yes, it will be 142 degrees. Okay. If you have a line intersecting parallel lines, each angle has the sum of 180 on either side. Okay. So needs to be given information. Okay. All right. So what we got for this one? So here's my given information. These two lines are parallel. You all right? Would you like your little arrows? Here you go. There you go. All right. Sorry, I'm being a little facetious. It's been a moment. Okay. But I get you. And I know with geometry, you constantly have to prove things. And I get it. All right. All right. So Roxy's saying 103. Was it a she, Ashley? We weren't sure. Okay. So Chris is saying 103. Is it Mateus? With 180 minus 77. So we have consecutive exterior angles are supplementary. Good. So corresponding slides are congruent. True, but are they corresponding? Exterior something. Okay, so if I trace my 77, and if I slide, without getting caught in something else, this will be where my corresponding is. But we're talking outside of it. So this will be my transversal. So since they're on the same side, and if these are our two parallel lines, this is going to be on the outside. So this is our exterior. Okay, so yes, so same side. Anytime the same side is not going to be consecutive because it's not one after the other, but they are going to be same side and exterior. So if we have our same side, if I may use SS, okay, and exterior. And like we mentioned, they're going to be supplementary. So that means they'll equal 180 degrees. And just like, I think it's Mateus. If I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, please correct me. So that means we have 180 degrees minus that 77. Okay, because if we're saying that they are supplementary, that means the sum of those two angles have to equal 180 degrees. So then we have we borrow the 7, so that gives us 103. So x is going to equal 103 degrees. Okay. All right. How are we feeling? Okay, couple more. What do we have for this one? Okay, good, awesome. What's my x? Put in the comments, what's my x? How many degrees? And what type of angles they are. Okay, so Michael's saying 120. TG is saying 120. C4 saying they're vertical angles. Pog, vertical angles 120. Roxy 120. Chris 120. C4X is equal to 120. Ladybug 120. Obtuse. Oh, hey, Sir Eagle. How are you? Oh, skipped one. Sorry. H. Sarah. Ooh. What is that? Sarah. Serif? I don't know. I'm so sorry. So that's 120. Fast Horse 120. Janice 120. Suzanne. Vertical angles 120. TG. Vertical angles. Flyboy 120. Simple geometry. All right. Awesome. Okay. So like you said, we do have vertical angles. Anything that's going to give us this V and the matching meeting at the same point. We got those vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. So that means X is also 120 degrees. All right. What do we got here? What's my angles? What's my X? Okay. So, Stephen, they would be equal. So that'll be 120. Okay. Okay, so Flyboy is saying 101. TG is saying 101, alternate interior angles. Chris is saying 101. Pog is alternate interior angles, 101. Sir Eagle, 101. Okay, Fast Horse 101, Roxy 101. Hello, Mr. Pickles. Okay, C4 alternate interiors are congruent. So Janice, thank you for your honesty. Not too sure. Okay. So again, if we want to give the indication, here are your parallel lines. Okay. Cut with a transversal. So if these are your parallel lines, that means in here, this is going to be your interior. Okay, this is basically the deliciousness inside of the sandwich. Now, one's on one side of the transversal and the unknown is on the other side. So they are alternate and they're in between, so interior. And alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means the angle for X is also going to be 101 degrees. Okay? I know, like sometimes we have to like learn to change our vision because we're so used to seeing the parallel lines going left to right, but sometimes they can change it up and make them vertical. Okay? Okay, but the philosophy is exactly the same. All right, last one. What do we have here? What do you think? Okay, thanks for the follow, Jerry. Appreciate that. Okay, what kind of angles? And what's the measure of X? Okay, so Flyboy 46, Chris 46, C4 same side interior, Pog same side interior, supplementary which is 180 minus 134 gives equals 46. Roxy 46. Aiden, hi. Is it 46? So interior supplementary 46 degrees. Okay, supplementary, Janice 46, TG 46. Is it Yayan? 46 or Eagle 46. Little Bats 46. Supplementary means equal to 180. Yes, supplementary means it equals 180. Okay, Brandon, opposite interior angles, which are supplementary, so they equal 180 degrees. Aiden, Sokotoa next. Sokotoa, oh, I actually already did Sokotoa. If you go to my YouTube channel, I already have a recording of Pythagorean theorem and Sokotoa. Yep, sine, cosine, and tangent. All right, so 46, I have geometry in high school, 1970. All right, Flyboy. Youngin'. No, I hate trig. Why do you hate trig? You experience trig every day. User, all of that. 46. Just graduated geometry. It was a pain. I know. Well, congratulations for just graduating. Good job. So we got, since here is my two parallel lines, here's my transversal, they're on the same side and they are in between. So this is my interior. So this is what you can call your same side interior, or you can say they're your consecutive interior. Okay, same side interior, consecutive interior, that's definitely going to be equal at 180 degrees. So since you have your 180, you know one of the angles is 134. So that will give you a winning 46 degrees. Good job, guys. All right. Have fun. All right, so I know It sounds very simplistic. You're just like, all right, Audrey, that was really easy. Like, can you challenge us a little bit? I'm like, sure. Hot. Why is my voice so hot? All right, so let's work on just a couple. So we're going to add on to what we learned. Okay, and this is one thing. This is not mine. I did get this from, and I will put in the plug. Okay, so Amazing Mathematics, because I'll be truthful, doing a lot of prepping for this, it really does take a toll. Okay, so once I found something that will really work for you guys, I definitely put that plug in. All right, so here we go. We're just going to do a couple of these. So we have two angles. We have 3x and we have 6x. I want to know what x equals. Okay. What type of angles do I have here? So then we can find our x. Better next year, hopefully. Okay. It should. It should. Okay, we have supplementary, okay? So we have same side or consecutive interior angles. So that means those two angles, since they're supplementary, that has to equal 180 degrees. So if I have 3x plus 6x, and I know it has to equal 180 degrees, okay? This will be our equation. Now solve for x. Okay, so 3x plus 6x, that does give us 9x. So if 9x equals 180, what do I need to do next? TG is saying x is 20. Okay, so yes, we have to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by the 9 because we're trying to get x by itself. So 9 divided by 9 gives me 1x, or I can just simply put down x. So now 180 divided by 9, some people will like it better if it was 18 divided by 9, which gives me 2, and then add on to your 0, which gives me 20. Okay, so if x equals 20, okay. Oh, okay. So if x equals 20, what's the measure of my two angles? So if x equals 20, what's the measure of those two angles? Okay, Michael's saying 60 and 120, Pog 60 and 120. All right, so we replace the x with the 20. Since it's 3x, that means it's 3 times x. So 3 times 20, this will give me 60 degrees. The same thing happening here, 6 times x. If you don't see a plus or a minus sign in between the number and the variable, that means you're doing multiplication. So we replace the 20 for the x. So 6 times 20 gives us 120. Okay. Good. Sir Eagle 120 and 60. Lil 60 and 120. TG 60 and 120. Thanks for the follow. Okay. All right. So sometimes we're going to have to, especially when you take any of these standardized tests, you're going to solve, you're going to be in power zone solving for x. and you're thinking, all right, boom, I got the answer. And they sure as heck will have 20 as one of the answer choices. But if their final question says, what is the angle or what's the measure of angle, I don't know, say that this was angle 4. What's the measure of angle 4? Well, actually, this is going to be 4. You will get points off because you gave them what X is. But there's going to be times you might have to substitute. So anytime you solve, my suggestion, reread the question to make sure you're answering the question. Okay? Just take a moment to reread it. Just the question, not the whole entire problem. Just the question of what you are supposed to be looking for. All right? Okay. Let's skip to get to this one. Actually, let's skip to this one because it is getting to be that magical hour. Oops. Okay, and if you have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. This is the perfect time to ask these questions. I'm not here to judge. I just want to educate. Okay, I want you to feel comfortable with these concepts because I know for sure a lot of people that were here earlier, immediately they're like, nope, I don't like math. Math is over. Trust me, guys, I used to suck at math, like completely. Fractions, nope. Word problems, hell no, not doing that. All right? But then, in order for me to instruct it, I had to get used to it. Okay? So I think the more exposure that you get to it, you take your time with it. As you can hear, we got nice music in the background. How did I improve? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. More exposure to it. And then plus, the more that I had to teach other people, the more that I had to practice on it. Okay? Yeah. So I think you hate it because you see that there's so many people that you're always comparing yourself to other people and you're like, man, everyone else is getting it. I'm not getting it. That means I'm stupid. No. Sometimes it takes people a minute. When I said I was terrible at math, it didn't happen when I was still in school. It took when I was the rightful age of 25 and someone told me division is just, or fractions is just merely division. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, it just clicked. I don't know why, but it just clicked. And ever since then, I've just been like, well, let me see what else I'm missing out on. And it just clicked from there. All right. Yep. Teaching is the best way to do it. Yep. Teaching someone. Okay. Yeah. 23. I'm telling you. And everybody always feel like you have to be perfect. I'm like, guys, there's multiple ways of getting the same answer. All right. So I know there's going to be teachers that's going to say otherwise. All right. So I got the 26 degrees and I got some 2s. All right. That's, at least I got 2 different answers. Or Rio or what? There's another answer. Yeah, so far I've seen 26 and 2s. Or I don't know. Okay. I would definitely take that as well. Thank you for your honesty. On the second arc. Okay. What's wrong with the second arc? Is it not perfect? Okay. All right. Your brain hurts, Daisy. All right. Well, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get through it. We're almost done. So if we take a look, if I trace this angle here and I slide down the transversal, it matches up with our other angle. Okay, so from here, sliding on down here. So that means this 9x plus 8, whatever that measures, is going to equal the same thing that's happened with the 4x plus 18. So why not since they're supposed to be congruent because they're corresponding angles, we're going to set them equal to each other. So this is what I mean by this. So we have our 9x plus 8. It's going to be equal to 4x plus 18. Okay, we're going to set them equal to each other. There you go, Chance. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I trust you. Oh, trust me. I get it. Okay, the Codfather. I'm going to try to keep it that way. And I get it. That's fine. All right, so now we can do that. We can subtract the 8 on both sides. So that means we're moving all our constants to one side. And if we subtract the 8, that means I need to bring that 4x over to the left side. So I'm going to subtract that on both sides. Eventually, as you guys do this, you will learn to basically doing our movement of things. You can do it in one line. So 8 minus 8 gives me 0, but I don't need that placeholder of a 0 because I have this 9x minus 4x over here, which will give me 5x. So this 4x minus 4x, that also will give me a 0, but I don't need that 0 as a placeholder because I still have my 18 minus 8. 18 minus 8, that gives us 10. Okay. All right. 18 is positive, 8 is negative. So when the signs are opposite, you are subtracting. Okay, you're subtracting. So now 5x equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. Our x value is equal to 2. So we found what x is equal. But now we got to plug in to find what the angle measures are. Okay, so this is where, like, some people stopped at 2, which gave me what x is. But if we want to find the angle measure, we pick one of the two. It doesn't matter. So if I said 9 times 2 plus 8, or if I said 4 times 2 plus 18. So here, I'm going to get 18 plus 8. Over here, I'm going to get 8 plus 18. Okay? So you can see it doesn't matter. So 18 plus 8, that's where everyone's getting the 26 from. Okay, so since they're congruent, it doesn't matter which one you plug in. You don't have to do both. I'm just showing that it doesn't matter which one of the angles you plug the 2 in, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, so we got 26 degrees. All right. All right. You're just hungry? Good job. All right, Jesus reigns. Good job. 26. Shuck, 26. Okay, day. Oh, you missed the beginning? That's okay. Don't forget, we got the replays. Just give me some time to upload it, okay? Because sometimes it's been acting really slow on my end. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the check-in. Yes, so corresponding classified, corresponding angles are equal. Why? I don't know. You're asking me to explain my handwriting day? Well, sometimes I do a fancy too, and sometimes I don't. I don't know. It's just me. Welcome to the world of Audrey. Where everything is a mystery. No, that's all right. I appreciate it. Oh, Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the rose and the donut. I appreciate that. So these are some of the questions. Like this was just like one of the questions that I noticed that was on the t-test that wasn't on the other ones. But let me unzoom so you can see. So if anything, as long as we understand that we have corresponding, we basically have like 6 angles, 6 different types of angles that's being put together by having 2 parallel lines cut with a transversal. Okay, so you have your corresponding, your vertical, your alternate exterior, alternate interior, same side, interior, same side, exterior. Okay, so as long as we know anything that's same side or consecutive, it's going to equal 180 degrees. If it's alternate or corresponding or vertical, they're going to be congruent. And if you can get that down, trust me, when you're looking at the answer choices, you always want to kind of do what's called process elimination. Okay? Do the process elimination. You will save time with the assessment as well as you just be able to get to your answers so much quicker. Okay. Okay, what's the T-test? The T's test is for those that are trying to, it's like an entry exam for those that want to go into nursing. Yes. And there's algebra on there as well. Can I show the equation again? Which equation would you like? Fast horse. Which equation? So am I going to have to learn this in the future? What grade are you in? The last one? Sure. Let me zoom in for a little bit. Well, maybe not that much. Yep, so it took the 180, there might be a little glare, the 180 minus the 134. Oh yeah, nursing has tons of math. Yep. You have probability in there. There's system of equations in there. Solving 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equation. Slope, which is rate of change. The equation of the line. They actually have factoring in there. Adding, subtracting, multiplying polynomials. Not so much dividing polynomials, but adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. I think it says system of equation. Rate and time. What else? Proportions. I think I said probability, but if I didn't, I'll say it again. Probability. Statistics, looking at circle graphs, histograms, as well as bar graphs. Yep. The one we just finished, please. This is the one that we just finished. Oh, from there. Duh. I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on. I was like, what are we talking about? You can tell I'm sleepy. All right. There you go, fast forward. Oh, no. Psych. What's just happened? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Okay. You're so welcome. So sorry about that. All right. So that is what's going on. Now, if you are a person that is thinking about getting your GED, your ASVAB, your Acuplacer, or even the TEAS test, and you need some assistance, I do have a course that's going to start next week. I know, right? I'm excited. Can't wait. So anyone that's still interested, even if you're just like, oh, Audrey, I wish I had the money, please reach out to me. I know there's a couple people I need to reach out and just to get some definitions and stuff. If you want to learn how, let me share my profile just for a moment. And if you go to my profile and underneath where you see ACG Math Tutoring, you can click on that and then hit open anyway. Even I got to do it. And then this is my website. Okay, so any kind of struggling with algebra, got myself with a video, but if you keep scrolling, you'll get to this part where it says want to pass the GED, ASVAB, or TEAS, and you want to register for the summer math prep. You can just click on learn more. And when you click on learn more, just kind of do like a general read, and I'll actually do a little summarization for you guys. And then this is basically what you're going to get. So there are 2, like twice a week, Zoom calls where we're breaking concepts down. The calls is basically, we're looking at like 90 minutes, okay? So the first time that we meet, we're going to get right into things, and then I'll ask you for questions. I'll give you like 30 minutes for questions and answers. If we finish before the 30 minutes, okay, that's great. But I want you to take the value of it, okay? But then the next day and therefore, we're going to start off with questions and answers because I am going to give you homework. Now, I'm going to respect your time with the homework. It is enough for you to get your, math chops wet and try to understand some of your concepts. But we can open up the next session with Q&A. All right. Now, replays for every session will be there because I know this is last minute. You probably had like vacations already planned. So the replays, I will have like a particular playlist already on YouTube that you guys can open up and just binge watch as much as you want. All right, so real-time question and answer, real-life experiences. You can also get examples of my notes, which I'm actually going to put it into a book later on. And then, like I like to say, no pressure, no judgment, just content breakdown. That's all we're doing. So if you're thinking about getting your GED, or if you know somebody's getting their GED, can I show the title of the image again? All right, Janice, I'll see you. Have a lovely night. Of the title? Let me come back right here. Okay. Yep. So once you get to like want to pass the GED, once you get to that, you go to learn more. You click on learn more, and then it will take you to the link. So you can read up a little bit more for that. All right. Okay. So then when I scroll down, okay, it'll take you to all that. Who's it for? The site name. Oh, actually, if you just go to the very beginning, right where my profile is, just type in Audrey Codner. Just my name. Okay, nothing too crazy. And then when you click on the website, it will take you straight there. Okay. And then it'll give you like your pricing. So you have between like $147 or $197. Again, $147, that's basically $6.13 per session. Per session. You're not getting this anywhere else. Okay? I've checked. Now, if you want to add on some tutoring, that will be over at the bundles, so the $197. And then we'll give you like the whole breakdown. You can check it out for yourself. And then what some of my students have said. Now, for the short time that I've been on TikTok, I've only been doing this since February of this year. And based off of the time that I have done here, I've had 7 people so far, 4 of them for ASVAB, 3 of them for GED. I have 4, basically passed their GED, like completely. Some of them have watched. Some people have done some improvement on their courses. And then 3 of them for the ASVAB, they were looking for getting a 31, which is the lowest basic score that you can get on the ASVAB. And one of them scored a 52, one scored a 54, and the other one scored a 74. And a lot of them worked on the practice tests. One of them actually took it one time, but the other 2 were first timers. So I must be doing something right. So if you're really interested into that, if you want to purchase any of the books, you can do that. Again, it's all on my website. Like if you want to have a blank version of my math notebook, because I created this math notebook, it's great for keeping track of your formulas. Some people like to have a couple of steps filled out. And if there's like, a couple things like here for the slope. But in addition to this, I have my factor sheet. So, oops. Okay, so if you're not strong with your multiplications and you need some assistance on breaking down factors, like breaking down radicals, breaking down your factoring your quadratics, you can actually use this. And most factor sheets that I've seen goes up to 1 to 100, but of course I 10x it, and I went from 1 to 200. Then also quick reminders of the rules of integers with addition and some examples, subtraction with some examples, and multiplying, dividing, as well as the order of operations, the properties of exponents, properties of quadrilaterals. I also did a little bit with area of the sector, arc length. We have volume, we have surface area, then area and perimeter, to kind of break down all those formulas. Because the first thing a lot of my students will say, there's so many formulas and I just can't keep track. As well as your unit circle for my little advance. Because most notebooks nowadays, even with the teachers that are in here, most of these notebooks are not designed for our secondary students. They're designed for doing journaling. They're not really designed for math. So instead of you making 60,000,002 copies of Cornell notes, you can actually just have them all in one book and the kids will have to take their own notes. Now, if you have a paper that you want your kids to have, sometimes I tape papers in here, say that there's extra work. They can tape to one side, and what they can do on the other side, summarize what's on that paper. Okay, so now they're doing their extra practice by getting their notes together. And you don't have to give them a grade for notes. It's just like they have something that's easier to help them with maybe pop quizzes or open notes quizzes. So now they don't have to scroll through packs of paper. And then if the copy machine is busted, which we all love that moment, then they can write their notes down. Okay? Yes. Thank you, Lisa. All right. So, if you need any kind of assistance, 1, please do not hesitate to message me. 2, thank you so much for your time and attention coming on to my lives. I greatly appreciate it. And I know my most recent book was the Audrey's Notes, which is today's sponsor. But I just wanted to kind of read to you guys. I know I've done this once before. I'm going to do it again because this is how much I do appreciate you. I dedicated my books to my TikTok viewers. So it said, to every viewer who showed up to my TikTok lives, thank you. Whether you stayed for 5 minutes or you followed every lesson, your presence, your questions, and your support are what made these notes possible. You reminded me that math is not just about numbers, it's about connection, confidence, and showing up even when it's hard. This book is for you. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. And I greatly do. I mean that wholeheartedly, because you could easily just scroll. But for those that are thinking about getting their GED. Like, this is the time of year that everyone's doing graduations. And if you're sitting there watching your son, your daughter, your grandson, granddaughter, niece, nephew, cousin, whoever walk across the stage and you're saying to yourself, I wish that was me, you don't have to wish anymore. You got someone that can help you through it. Okay, so if you're interested into the course, please do not hesitate to DM me. Just message me. I know sometimes I can see the messages and I love like when I get a message 2 days later, but still message me. Okay, and you can also reach me via email. There should be an option on the bottom of your screen that would say, what should it say? Service, I think it says. So you can also fill that out if you want. Okay, just make sure you reach out to me. That's the only way I can help you. Okay. All right. So thank you again. I want you guys to have an amazing night. And get some rest. Get some rest. Drink your water. As I like to say to my cats before they go outside, make good decisions like they listen to me. They're cats. What am I talking to a cat for? Like they're going to respond or anything. All right. So not a problem. Have a wonderful night. And I will see you guys again tomorrow night. And what are we working on tomorrow night? We are going to be possibly looking at some pie charts. So we're going to be looking at some data analysis a little bit. We're going to be looking at some different types of graphs and charts. So we can make sure we got the understanding of that. And I might put scatter plot in there. I'm not sure. But we'll see how it goes. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So get some rest and I'll talk with you soon. Okay. What are my times? Monday through Thursday, I'm here at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, PM. Friday is at 1 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. So I also have it pinned on my profile. So just in case you want the times. And if they ever change, I will always change the pins. Okay. All right. Okay. Good night, everyone. Take care. Bye now.